Hello everyone and welcome to yet another video of me freezing my ass off in a garage. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of my mouth at the moment, but that's how cold it is. But you know me, I just love my subscribers so much I'd even go through getting pneumonia for them. Right, anyway, so what actually is this video about? Well, a couple of days ago I got an email through from fanfest.com, I believe, and the email said that there'd been a new picture of Michonne released from Season 10B along with a new trailer of The Walking Dead. Now, I clicked on the article and the picture that you're about to see now is brand new of Michonne, and it's with that dude she went away with at the end of last half of the season, but the trailer that they included is not a new trailer. It's a trailer from last November, and it's a trailer for the upcoming mid-season premiere. And because I was sort of so excited that I am back on YouTube now, and I was like, great, you know, this is some more Walking Dead content that I can do a reaction about, I literally wrote an entire script for what I thought about the trailer without even reading the article properly, because it's not a new trailer, it's from last year. So yeah, apologies if you have already watched this trailer countless times and if you have watched other YouTubers talk about it, but I'd already done the script, so I just thought, well, I might as well share my thoughts on it anyway. And hopefully you'll get something out of this video that you haven't heard already. And I mean, let's be honest, you know I'm the best Walking Dead YouTuber there is, so mine's going to be better than everyone else's anyway. Anyway, let's start the video. So the trailer begins with Gamma making contact with Gabe and Rosita, and she tells them that all their friends are trapped in a cave which houses Alpha's herd, and that basically they need to save them or they're gonna die. And as you would expect, the characters aren't sure about whether she is telling the truth or not. Rosita says later on in the trailer, how do we know that we can trust them? And to be honest, I myself am not sure about what exactly Gamma's motivations really are. You could say that perhaps Gamma is genuinely trying to help our protagonist because she wants to be offered a better life at Alexandria, so she is just doing it out of the kindness of her heart and Alpha doesn't know. Or of course it could be that this is a ploy done by Alpha and that she's told her to go into Alexandria, I think that's where she's gone to, and say to them, yeah, you need to rescue your friends, and then obviously everyone gets trapped in the cave and Alpha can take care of them. Personally, I am siding more towards the first argument because I felt that last season, or last half of the season, sorry, Aaron did genuinely get through to her and kind of make some progress with her, and I think that obviously seeing her sister die and the fact that her niece or nephew, I can't remember which one it is in Alexandria, I think she is going to want to try and get away from the Whisperers, basically. And yeah, she found out that Alpha had lied about, what's her name, Lydia being dead as well. So yeah, I am leaning more towards her trying to do this because she wants to escape the Whisperers rather than it being some kind of trick from Alpha. And to further this point, Negan actually says later on in the trailer that there is a spy amongst the Whisperers, and for me this is an obvious hint to Gamma, unless Negan is outing himself as a spy, which would be very bizarre, but then Negan is a bit bizarre. But anyway, yeah, basically I think it is more likely that Gamma is doing this because she wants to join our protagonist than her just being a bit of a dick. So after Gamma visits Rosita and Gabe, there's a brief clip of Rosita talking to Gabe about it, and Rosita sort of says that how can we trust them? How do we not know this is all just a ploy and it's all made up? And Gabe is sort of sat there deep in thought and I guess contemplating whether to trust them or not. Now this might not look like a very significant scene or not to most people, but I'm not sure if our protagonist will get support from the rest of the characters or not. It may be that Gabe and Rosita say, you know what, yeah, we can't trust the Whisperers, especially after Gabe ended up killing Dante last season, and obviously Rosita had her boyfriend, Sadiq, whatever they were. Were they actually together? I don't know. Rosita's with everyone. Anyway, the father of her baby, we'll call him, yeah, he died at the hand of the Whisperers, and obviously both of them have been deeply affected by this group, and yeah, they don't have any reason to trust the Gamma. So it may be that they decide, you know what, no, we're not sending any help to this cave, and who knows, because of that we might have a character or two die, and we might then have Gabe and Rosita think, oh no, if we did help we might have prevented person's ex's death. So yeah, that could happen. Or it could be that, of course, they just rush into it gung-ho, or Gabe brings Rosita around and they do go and help our heroes. I don't know, but you know, there is potential there for a bit of conflict. On the subject of those who are trapped in the cave, I have to say the only thing that really bugs me about this trailer was that we see a clip of Daryl after he's obviously escaped the cave because he's walking around camp and he's talking about getting revenge, and there's also a clip of Carol with Ezekiel that is obviously set after they escape. And that's kind of weird because now we know these two are gonna survive, so you've kind of spoiled it before it even happens. But you know, AMC have a history of spoiling their own show for some reason. I don't know, maybe the people at AMC thought, well, you know, our audience are gonna know that Carol and Daryl are going to make it out. They're the only characters who've been in the show since the start. It would be extremely anticlimactic for them to die in a cave. But then again, we've had some anticlimactic deaths. I mean, look at Carl. But anyway, they probably thought that we'd already, as viewers, we'd already figure it out, so let's just put them in the trailer. So, yeah, maybe there is that to it, but it still feels quite weird to me that you're kind of hyping up this potential for characters to die in the cave, and then here's a clip of some of them out of the cave and alive. Cool. As for the whole cave herd setup thing that we're going to see when the show resumes, if you watch my very long review of 10A, you'll know that this cliffhanger left me feeling a bit numb. I was just kind of a bit underwhelmed. It was like, oh great, our characters are surrounded by walkers. How will they get out? Oh, I don't know, the same way they have every other time. So, yeah, it didn't really offer anything new. It was just like, oh, here we go. Here's some more walkers that our characters will deal with. So, yeah, that was a bit disappointing. But this trailer did give me some renewed optimism because we see that our characters might have to escape some pretty claustrophobic environments to get out of the caves. I mean, there's a scene when Jerry is in a tight enclosed space and he's trying to escape and Aaron's there shouting at him and then Jerry's screaming. If our characters have to go through these tight tunnels to escape the cave system, then that could provide some quite tense moments. And let's be honest, AMC know exactly what they're doing by putting Jerry in danger in the trailer. Everyone loves Jerry, and it's a good way of getting people talking about the show again, because I imagine fans were pissed when they saw this, that thinking Jerry might die. And I think there was a comment on my 10A review, and it was said something along the lines of, oh, don't let Jerry die, and I just thought that was because I think I mentioned in that review that I didn't want him to die, but maybe they said it because the person said it because they saw the trailer that he was in danger. I don't know. But personally, I don't think Jerry's going to die. I think it's just been put in to get people talking about it. A bit like the scene in the Season 10 trailer where you've got Negan with the crowbar and Aaron cowering in the background, and people were like, oh, will he kill Aaron? But no, he didn't. So I just think it's in there to get people talking, and I hope I'm right, because I do like Jerry, and you've got to keep your likeable characters on the show now, because you've changed and chopped the people so many times, so please just let him live, please. Also in the trailer that I watched, I will link it in the description below, you may have already seen it, but there was a sort of an extra 40-second clip after the trailer, and it had Magna running around with like a, I don't know if it's a piece of paper or a piece of wood, something on fire, and she's navigating the caves and she can't see, and she's got hearing the whispers in the background, and then she sort of gets spooked and it ends. And I have to admit, it is quite nervy and scary because it's pitch black, and obviously you've got walkers in the background, and there is the potential that, I know it's a classic horror trope with people getting split up, but in a cave system, if the guys get surrounded by walkers or walkers come up on them unexpectedly, they may get separated, and yeah, there's the potential for, I think, some genuinely scary moments. And I have to say, I am now looking forward to it a lot more than I was when Season 10A finished. And this is a bit random, but I remember reading an article a couple of years ago about this big cave structure underground a city. I don't know if it was in Russia, it may have been, and these people went into the caves, and the caves were so big that they basically just ended up getting lost and died, and then they found their bodies in the cave some years later. And I remember reading that article and I'm thinking, wow, that's quite scary, because I think it might have even been kids who went in the caves, or I think there were kids who have gone in there before, and you kind of think, you just see it as, oh, this will be a bit of fun, run around the cave, without thinking that, you know, if the cave is like 20 miles long and you get lost and there's no light, you're basically fucked, because if you can't get out, you're dead. So, yeah, completely random, I know, but it made me think of that, and now I am down for the whole cave setup, and I'm looking forward to it, so let's hope it delivers. And let's hope Jerry survives. Anyway, enough talking about caves for one day. Beta also appears in the trailer briefly, and we see him running around in a field, heading towards like an RV caravan type vehicle. And it looks like there is this underground passage in the RV, and then there's also a scene of Beta later in what looks like a house in Alexandria. Now, I might be putting two things together that aren't connected here, but we do know that Alexandria has the secret entry and exit points, so maybe this is one of them. Maybe this is one that Beta's found, and that's how he ends up sneaking into someone's house in Alexandria. Who knows? And if that's not the case, then how does he get inside Alexandria? Well, I don't know. I mean, there could be a whole host of reasons as to why he's in Alexandria. Someone might invite him in for tea. Who knows? Just have to wait and see, won't we? What am I even talking about now? I have no idea. Let's just carry on. Moving on, there are what appear to be two potential romantic scenes in this trailer, both of which I don't think anything is gonna come of. So let me explain straight away. So first up we have the scene with Ezekiel and Rosita, and obviously these two got together in the comics, so I think a lot of people will be thinking that the same thing is going to happen here. But I don't know, I think this just might be a little nod to the comics. I don't really think anything is going to happen. I definitely don't see these two getting together in the TV show anyway. We had a sort of similar thing in the Season 10 trailer when Ezekiel and Michonne kissed, and again a lot of fans were like, oh, they were together in the comics. But it turns out that it was just a in the spur of the moment thing that Ezekiel did, and it didn't go any further than that. Which sounds like a lot of my Friday nights out. I mean, I kiss them, I put my heart on the line, I tell them how I feel, and they never call me back. Why don't they ever call me back? Sorry about that. If you can just pretend that didn't happen, and we'll carry on from where we were, shall we? So let's have a look at the picture here of Rosita and Eugene. Now, Eugene is obviously puckering up for a kiss. He's got his eyes closed. He's ready for the magic to happen. But if you look at Rosita, I don't see that from her. Now, I know I may be reading way too much into this, but she's got her eyes open. She has this cheeky kind of smile on her face. I don't think she's going in for a kiss. I think she's going to say something to Eugene like, oh, I told you we were never going to get together. Or it's going to be something, or she's going to pull away, but it's going to be something that results in Eugene getting rejected. That's what I think anyway. I think this is just put in to get fans hyped for a Eugene-Rosita romance, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think this could be a clever trick, and I think Rosita is going to break his heart. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm completely wrong, who knows? And so we move on to the second romantic moment, which I am also going to shit on because I am just a miserable bastard, it seems. And what we have here is Ezekiel and Carol together in the bed, ready to get it on, but I don't see it that way at all. Obviously most people will take this as the two getting back together, and that could well be what it is, but something about this just tells me that this isn't a scene of them having sex or getting back together. I think this is going to be the moment where Ezekiel shows his tumour and tells Carol that he's dying, basically. I think he's finally gotten round to telling her, and this is how it's going to go down. I don't think this is going to be a romantic moment. I think it's going to be another sad one. But maybe, again, that's just because I am a horrible, pessimistic person when it comes to love at the moment. I don't know. But anyway, let me know, again, if you agree or disagree in the comments. Michonne appears a couple of times in this trailer. Firstly, we see her on the boat, and I assume this is the same boat from the end of last season, and she's heading towards this island where the weapons supposedly are. And we also see a clip of her at the end with her hood up and what looks like chains in the background. Now, the first thing that sprung to my mind when I saw this was it just reminded me of when Michonne was first introduced and she was walking around with the chained walkers. So, is she doing the same thing again? Does something happen when she goes to the island that she has to go back to that? I don't know. Or it could just be that it's a flashback, and with this being Michonne's last season, more of her backstory is explored. I don't know. I do hope, though, that it is either of these things, and it's not just like the chain from the boat or something that's positioned there, because that would be pretty shitty, because AMC obviously know that fans are going to look at this and instantly be reminded of when Michonne was first introduced. So hopefully this does have some meaning, and yeah, I think maybe we'll see a few more flashbacks before Michonne leaves the show. I honestly can't believe I've talked this long about a minute trailer. Crazy. Anyway, Alpha also appears briefly at the end of it, and her face is covered in blood, which means she's either killed someone or she's just eating a juicy steak. Who knows? Who knows indeed. I don't even know why I felt the need to talk about that bit. I didn't really add anything to the discussion at all, did it? However, I do think though that I will do a video very shortly about the potential future of Alpha on The Walking Dead, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Before I go, I do want to mention that I do like the overall horror vibe that we've got from this trailer. It feels like Kang is trying to keep up with the psychological horror aspects that were in Season 10A, which I very much liked, if you know that if you watch my video, and I'm pleased with the direction in which The Walking Dead is going. I think that Angela Kang has done a very good job of making The Walking Dead a lot scarier since she's came on board. Obviously, she's had the benefit of working with the Whisperers as the source material for a lot of her stuff that she's done, and the Whisperers are a scary group anyway, so she does have that as an advantage. But if Scott Gimple were still in charge, the Whisperers probably wouldn't be whispering, they'd probably be talking or singing awful monologues about the importance of helping people or some bollocks, I don't know. So yeah, she's done a good job. I've enjoyed this season so far. I liked the trailer. It was only a minute long. I know maybe I've spoken too much about it and bored you all. I do apologise, but there is a lot to pick from it, and I am looking forward to the show coming back next month. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this trailer that came out about 2 months ago. So again, sorry if I've wasted your time. Sorry if you didn't get anything from this video, but hopefully you did. Hopefully you had a laugh and you enjoyed it anyway. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover about this show, about any other show. Let me know and I will try my best, as I always try to do, to respond to your comments. Anyway, I'm going to go inside now and cook some pasta and try to get warm in my bed. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Take care and goodbye. Forgot what I was going to say then. Bye.